I do not see my role as adjudicative at all, because given the shortness of time in mediation we're given, usually we will finish a mediation within a day. Given that time limit, you can never understand. And I don't pretend to understand their case, and I don't pretend to know all their problems, but I know what their core interests. That's my role, to find out what their core interests, what is best in their interests in the given circumstances. Each of them will come with a set of desired outcomes. Yeah, they would like to see the best outcome they can. But my role is to help to see them what are realistic outcomes, what is achievable and what probably not achievable. Yeah, without going into the merits of their case, without telling them that they have a strong case or a weak case, because that is for them to evaluate. Their lawyers are the best evaluators, not me. My role is really to facilitate them talking, to help them see the positive things of the other side, the other party. Clearly, the difference between a mediator and arbitrator, the role is different, yeah, for us arbitrators and mediators. But to the parties, apart from finality in arbitration, mediation actually also brings finality, but in a different manner. It brings a positive finality. In arbitration, you see one party being adjudicated the loser, whereas in mediation, you don't. In mediation, we see parties happy, leaving the room, leaving the mediation session, knowing that they have achieved something, they resolve a problem. And most parties leave the place having a big burden, a yoke from their shoulder taken off. And that is the difference for the parties between mediation and arbitration. Of course, there are technical differences. One is they achieve in an arbitration award, which is binding and final, that can be enforced by law, whereas in mediation you achieve an agreement in which both parties are supposed to work at. Yeah? A solution that both parties are happy, or at least they can live with. So that is the difference. The advantage of mediation, of course, is its swiftness, is the informality, it's the all-important thing. It costs so much less than arbitration. So much less angst, anger, and energy that will be spent on arbitration as compared to a one-day mediation. Yeah? I mean, in arbitration, you really spend a lot fighting a case. It is really a fight. It's actually litigation outside the courtroom. What you get at the end of the day is an arbitral award, which is binding, and that is the greatest advantage. The enforcement mechanisms that will support an arbitration award, which is, at the moment, you don't get that in mediation yet. But with the SIMC Met Up Singapore Clause protocol, you have a great advantage of having a mediated settlement agreement being converted into an arbitration award. So that takes away the disadvantage, as people can see, or lawyers will say that, oh, there's a disadvantage of mediation because it's not enforceable. With the Met Up protocol SIMC, this takes away that argument. Yeah. I also foresee that in time to come, there could well be a convention for the enforcement of mediated settlement agreements. That may take time, yeah, because conventions are difficult to come by, difficult to be forged, and even when it is signed off, it takes another 10, 15 years before it's ratified again. So we're talking about a timeline of 15, 20 years before a real mature convention comes about to support mediation. But I think meanwhile, the SIMC Met Up Clause protocol is a perfect solution for the next 15 to 20 years. I see that as a great advantage for SIMC. Mediation assists parties to some degree in preserving their ongoing relationship, especially parties who have always been dealing with each other. In a one-off transaction, it's very difficult to say that you're going to preserve relationship, because when a party gets involved in a conflict or dispute, one party, if that's their first experience, I don't think even after resolving the dispute, they're going to carry on again. But for parties who have a long working relationship or commercial relationship or social relationship, when a dispute is resolved, there is a greater tendency, greater desire for them to want to continue that relationship. And in fact, that might be one of the reasons why they actually come to mediation rather than to go for adjudication through an adjudicative process like arbitration or court process.